Horseflies are horseflies. For other names, see common names, are true flies in the family Tabanidae in the insect order Diptera. They are often large and agile in flight, and the females bite animals, including humans, to obtain blood. They prefer to fly in sunlight, avoiding dark and shady areas, and are inactive at night. They are cosmopolitan, with only a few isolated islands and polar regions uninhabited. Adult horseflies feed on nectar and plant exudates. The males have weak mouthparts and only the females bite animals to obtain enough protein from blood to produce eggs. The mouthparts of females are formed into a stout stabbing organ with two pairs of sharp cutting blades, and a sponge-like part used to lap up the blood that flows from the wound. The larvae are predaceous and grow in semiaquatic habitats. Female horseflies can transfer blood-borne diseases from one animal to another through their feeding habit. In areas where diseases occur, they have been known to carry equine infectious anemia virus, some trypanosomes, the filarial worm lower, anthrax among cattle and sheep, and tularemia, as well as making life outdoors uncomfortable for humans. They can reduce growth rates in cattle and lower the milk output of cows if suitable shelters are not provided. Horseflies have appeared in literature since Aeschylus in ancient Greece mentioned them driving people to madness through their persistent pursuit. Common names. Apart from the common name, horseflies, broad categories of biting, blood-sucking Tabanidae are known by a large number of common names. The word tabanus was first recorded by Pliny the Younger and has survived as the generic name. In general, country folk did not distinguish between the various biting insects that irritated their cattle, and called them all gadflies, from the word gad meaning a spike. The most common name is clegg, gleg or clag, which comes from Old Norse and may have originated from the Vikings. Other names such as stouts refer to the wide bodies of the insects and dun flies to their somber coloring. Chrysips species are known as deer flies, perhaps because of their abundance on moorland where deer roam, and buffalo flies, moose flies, and elephant flies emanate from other parts of the world where these animals are found. In North America they are known as breeze flies, and in Australia, some are known as march flies, a name used in other Anglophonic countries to refer to the non-blood-sucking Bibionidae. Description: adult Tabanidae are large flies with prominent compound eyes, short antennae composed of 3 segments, and wide bodies. In females, the eyes are widely separated, but in males, they are almost touching. They are often patterned and brightly colored in life but appear dull in preserved specimens. The terminal segment of the antennae is pointed and is annulated, appearing to be made up of several tapering rings. There are no hairs or arista arising from the antennae. Both head and thorax are clad in short hairs, but there are no bristles on the body. The membranous forewings are clear, uniformly shaded gray or brown, or patterned in some species. They have a basal lobe, or calypter, that covers the modified knob-like hindwings or halteres. The tips of the legs have 2 lobes on the sides, pulvilli, and a central lobe or empodium in addition to 2 claws that enable them to grip surfaces. Species recognition is based on details of head structures, antennae, frons, and maxillae, the wing venation and the body patterning. Minute variations of surface structure cause subtle alterations of the overlying hairs which alters the appearance of the body. Tabanid species range from medium-sized to very large, robust insects. Most have a body length between 5 and 25 mm, 0.2 and 1.0 in, with the largest having a wingspan of 60 mm, 2.4 in. Deer flies in the genus Chrysips are up to 10 mm, 0.4 in long, have yellow to black bodies and striped abdomens and have membranous wings with dark patches. Horseflies, genus Tabanus, are larger, up to 25 mm. 1 in length and are mostly dark brown or black, with dark eyes, often with a metallic sheen. Yellow flies, genus Diachlorus, are similar in shape to deer flies but have yellowish bodies and the eyes are purplish-black with a green sheen. Some species in the subfamily Pyngoniinae have an exceptionally long proboscis, tubular mouthpart. The larvae are long and cylindrical with small heads and 12 body segments. They have rings of tubercles, warty outgrowths, known as pseudopods around the segments, and also bands of short setae, bristles. The posterior tip of each larva has a breathing siphon and a bulbous area known as Graeber's organ. The outlines of the adult insect's head and wings are visible through the pupa, which has 7 movable abdominal segments, all except the front one of which bears a band of setae. The posterior end of the pupa bears a group of spine-like tubercles. Some species, such as deer flies and the Australian march flies, are known for being extremely noisy during flight. Though clegs, for example, fly quietly and bite with little warning. Tabanids are agile flyers. Hybomitra have been observed to perform aerial maneuvers similar to those performed by fighter jets, such as the Immelmann turn. Distribution and habitat. Horseflies are found worldwide, except for the polar regions, but they are absent from some islands such as Greenland, Iceland, and Hawaii. The genera Tabanus, Chrysips, and Haematopota all occur in temperate, subtropical and tropical locations, but Haematopota are absent from Australia and South America. Horseflies mostly occur in warm areas with suitable moist locations for breeding, but also occupy a wide range of habitats from deserts to alpine meadows. They are found from sea level to at least 3,300 meters, 10,800 feet. Evolution and taxonomy. The first record of a tabanid comes from the late Jurassic of China, and specimens from the Cretaceous have been found in England, Spain, and possibly South Africa. In the New World, the first discoveries date from the Miocene of Florissant, Colorado. These insects are recognizable as tabanids both from their mouthparts and their wing venation, although the blood-sucking habit is associated with a long proboscis. A fossil insect that has elongated mouthparts is not necessarily a bloodsucker, as it may instead have fed on nectar. The ancestral tabanids may have co-evolved with the angiosperm plants on which they fed, with a necessity for high-protein food for egg production. The diet of early tabanomorphs was probably predatory, and from this, the blood-sucking habit may have evolved. In the Santana Formation in Brazil, no mammals have been found, so the fossil tabanids found there likely fed on reptiles. Cold blood-sucking probably preceded warm blood-sucking, but some dinosaurs are postulated to have been warm-blooded and may have been early hosts for the horseflies. The Tabanidae are true flies and members of the insect order Diptera, with the families Athlorhisidae, Pelycorinchidae and Oreoleptidae. Tabanidae are classified in the superfamily Tabanoidea, along with Raginoidea. This superfamily makes up the infraorder Tabanomorpha. Tabanoid families seem to be united by the presence of a venom canal in the mandible of the larvae. Worldwide, about 4,455 species of Tabanidae have been described, over 1,300 of them in the genus Tabanus. Tabanid identification is based mostly on adult morphological characters of the head, wing venation, and sometimes the last abdominal segment. The genitalia are very simple and do not provide clear species differentiation as in many other insect groups. In the past, most taxonomic treatments considered the family to be composed of 3 subfamilies: Pyngoniinae, tribes Pyngoniinae, Philoleucinae, Cyaninae, Chrysopsinae, tribes Bouvier-Myinae, Chrysopsinae, Rhinomycinae, and Tabanidae, tribes Diachlorinae, Hematopotinae, Tabanidae. Some treatments increase this to 5 subfamilies, adding the subfamily Adiciinae, with the single genus Adasia, and the subfamily Skepsidae, with the 2 genera Brownsiomyia and Skepsis. A 2015 study by Marita et al., using nucleotide data, aimed to clarify the phylogeny of Tabanidae and supports there being 3 subfamilies. The subfamilies Pyngoniinae and Tabanidae were shown to be monophyletic. The tribes Philoleucinae, Chrysopsinae, Rhinomycinae and Hematopotinae were found to be monophyletic, with Cyaninae also being monophyletic apart from the difficult-to-place genus Goniops. Adasia was recovered within Pyngoniinae, as were the genera previously placed in Skepsidae, and Mycteromyia and Goniops were recovered within Chrysopsinae. Subfamily Chrysopsinae. Deerflies or banded horseflies. Subfamily Pyngoniinae. Long-tongued horseflies. Subfamily Tabanidae. Horseflies. The Tabanidae lack ocelli, simple eyes, and have no spurs on the tips of their hind tibiae. In the Pyngoniinae, ocelli are present and the antennal flagellum, whip-like structure, usually has 8 annuli, or rings. In the Chrysopsinae, the antennal flagellum has a basal plate and the flagellum has 4 annuli. Females have a shining callus on the front of the head between the eyes. The Adiciinae have a divided tergite on the 9th abdominal segment, and the Skepsidae have highly reduced mouthparts. Members of the family Pelecorhynchidae were initially included in the Tabanidae and moved into the Rhaginidae before being elevated into a separate family. The infraorder Tabanomorpha share the blood-feeding habit as a common primitive character, although this is restricted to the female. 2 well-known genera are the common horseflies, Tabanus, named by Swedish taxonomist Carl Linnaeus in 1758, and the deerflies, Chrysips, named by the German entomologist Johann Wilhelm Meigen in 1802. Meigen did pioneering research on flies and was the author of Die Fliegen, flies. He gave the name Hematopota, blood drinker, to another common genus of horseflies. Biology, diet and biting behavior. Adult horseflies feed on nectar and plant exudates, and some are important pollinators of certain specialized flowers. Several South African and Asian species in the Pyngoniinae have spectacularly long proboscises, adapted for the extraction of nectar from flowers with long, narrow corolla tubes, such as Leperousea, and certain Pelargonium. Both males and females engage in nectar feeding. But in addition to this, females of most species are anautogynous, meaning they require a blood meal before they are able to reproduce effectively. To obtain the blood, the females bite animals, including humans, while the males are harmless. It takes the female about 6 days to fully digest its blood meal, and after that it needs to find another host. It seems that the flies are attracted to a potential victim by its movement, warmth, and surface texture, and by the carbon dioxide it breathes out. The flies mainly choose large mammals such as cattle, horses, camels, and deer, but fewer species specific. They have also been observed feeding on smaller mammals, birds, lizards and turtles, and even on animals that have recently died. Because their bite is irritating to the victim, they are often brushed off, and may have to visit multiple hosts to obtain sufficient blood. This behavior means that they may carry disease-causing organisms from one host to another. The mouthparts of females are of the usual dipteran form and consist of a bundle of 6 chitinous stylets that, together with a fold of the flesh labium, form the proboscis. On either side of these are two maxillary palps. When the insect lands on an animal, it grips the surface with its clawed feet. The labium is retracted. The head is thrust downwards and the stylets slice into the flesh. Some of these have sawing edges and muscles can move them from side to side to enlarge the wound. Saliva containing anticoagulant is injected into the wound to prevent clotting. The blood that flows from the wound is lapped up by another mouthpart which functions as a sponge. Horsefly bites can be painful for a day or more. Fly saliva may provoke allergic reactions such as hives and difficulty with breathing. Tabanid bites can make life outdoors unpleasant for humans, and can reduce milk output in cattle. They are attracted by reflections from water which are polarized, making them a particular nuisance near swimming pools. Since tabanids prefer to be in sunshine, they normally avoid shaded places such as barns, and are inactive at night. Attack patterns vary with species. Clegs fly silently and prefers to bite humans on the wrist or bare leg. Large species of Tabanus buzz loudly, fly low, and bite ankles, legs or backs of knees. Chrysips fly somewhat higher, bite the back of the neck, and have a high buzzing note. It has been suggested that the striped hides of zebras have evolved to reduce their attractiveness to horseflies and tsetse flies than either plain dark or plain white hides. The closer together the stripes, the fewer flies are visually attracted. The zebra's legs have particularly fine striping, and this is the shaded part of the body that is most likely to be bitten in other unstriped equids. This does not preclude the possible use of stripes for other purposes such as signaling or camouflage. Predators and parasites. The eggs of horseflies are often attacked by tiny parasitic wasps, and the larvae are consumed by birds as well as being parasitized by tachinid flies, fungi and nematodes. Adult horseflies are eaten by generalized predators such as birds, and some specialist predators, such as the horse-guard wasp, a bembacinid wasp, also preferentially attack horseflies, catching them to provision their nests. Reproduction. Mating often occurs in swarms, generally at landmarks such as hilltops. The season and time of day and type of landmark used for mating swarms is specific to particular species. Eggs are laid on stones of vegetation near water, in clusters of up to 1,000, especially on emergent water plants. The eggs are white at first but darken with age. They hatch after about 6 days. The emerging larvae using a special hatching spike to open the egg case. The larvae fall into the water or onto the moist ground below. Chrysips species develop in particularly wet locations while Tabanus species prefer drier places. The larvae are legless grubs, tapering at both ends. They have small heads and 11 or 12 segments and molt 6 to 13 times over the course of up to a year or more. In temperate species, the larvae have a quiescent period during winter, diapause, while tropical species breed several times a year. In the majority of species they are white, but in some, they are greenish or brownish, and they often have dark bands on each segment. A respiratory siphon at the hind end allows the larvae to obtain air when submerged in water. Larvae of nearly all species are carnivorous, often cannibalistic in captivity, and consume worms, insect larvae, and arthropods. The larvae may be parasitized by nematodes, flies of the families Bombyliidae and Tachinidae, and Hymenoptera in the family Pteromallidae. When fully developed, the larvae move into drier soil near the surface of the ground to pupate. The pupae are brown and glossy, rounded at the head end and tapering at the other end. Wing and limb buds can be seen and each abdominal segment is fringed with short spines. After about 2 weeks, metamorphosis is complete. The pupal case splits along the thorax and the adult fly emerges. Males usually appear first, but when both sexes have emerged, mating takes place. Courtship starting in the air and finishing on the ground. The female needs to feed on blood before depositing her egg mass. As disease vectors, Tabanids are known vectors for some blood-borne bacterial, viral, protozoan and worm diseases of mammals, such as the equine infectious anemia virus and various species of trypanosoma which cause diseases in animals and humans. Species of the genus Chrysips transmit the parasitic filarial worm lower between humans, and Tabanids are known to transmit anthrax among cattle and sheep, and tularemia between rabbits and humans. Blood loss is a common problem in some animals when large flies are abundant. There are anecdotal reports of horsefly bites leading to fatal anaphylaxis in humans, an extremely rare occurrence. Management. Controlling horseflies is difficult. Malaise traps are most often used to capture them, and these can be modified with the use of baits and attractants that include carbon dioxide or octenol. A dark shiny ball suspended below them that moves in the breeze can also attract them and forms a key part of a modified Manitoba trap that is used most often for trapping and sampling Tabanidae. Cattle can be treated with pyrethroids which may repel the flies, and fitting them with insecticide-impregnated ear tags or collars has had some success in killing the insects. Relationship with humans. Bites. Humans find horsefly bites painful. There is usually a wheal, raised area of skin, ear around the site, and other symptoms may include urticaria, a rash, dizziness, weakness, wheezing, and angioedema, a temporary itchy, pink or red swelling occurring around the eyes or lips. A few people experience an allergic reaction. The site of the bite should be washed and a cold compress applied. Scratching the wound should be avoided and an antihistamine preparation can be applied. In most cases, the symptoms subside within a few hours, but if the wound becomes infected, medical advice should be sought. In literature, the ancient Greek playwright Aeschylus has a gadfly pursue and torment Io, a maiden associated with the moon, watched constantly by the eyes of the herdsman Argus, associated with all the stars. Io. Ha. Again the prick, the stab of gadfly sting. O earth, earth, hide, the hollow shape. Argus. That evil thing, the hundred-eyed. William Shakespeare, inspired by Aeschylus, has Tom o' Bedlam in King Lear, whom the foul fiend hath led through fire and through flame, through ford and whirlpool, o'er bog and quagmire, driven mad by the constant pursuit. In Antony and Cleopatra, Shakespeare likens Cleopatra's hasty departure from the Actium battlefield to that of a cow chased by a gadfly. The breeze, gadfly, upon her, like a cow in June, hoists sail and flies. Where June may allude not only to the month but also to the goddess Juno who torments Io, and the cow in turn may allude to Io, who is changed into a cow in Ovid's Metamorphoses. The physician and naturalist Thomas Muffet wrote that the horsefly carries before him a very hard, stiff, and well-compacted sting, with which he strikes through the ox his hide. He is in fashion like a great fly, and forces the beasts for fear of him only to stand up to the belly in water, or else to betake themselves to wood sides, cool shades, and places where the wind blows through. The blue-tail fly in the eponymous song was probably the morning horsefly, Tabanus atratus, a tabanid with a blue-black abdomen common to the southeastern United States. See also List of soldier flies and allies of Great Britain. Use of DNA in forensic entomology. Data related to Tabanidae at Wikispecies. Media related to Tabanidae at Wikimedia Commons. Parasitic insects, mites and ticks. Genera of medical and veterinary importance. Wikibooks.